All right, so Trump lied about Ukraine. This happened today at the NATO meeting.
Once said that you would end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. You later said you said that sarcastically.
Well, of course it was sarcastic.
Of course he had to. So it wasn't a lie, it was sarcastic, right? Well, that was sarcastic.
But you've now been in office for 5 months and 5 days. Why have you not been able to end the Ukraine war?
Because it's more difficult than people would have any idea.
So you said you were going to end it for a year.
You said it'd be easy.
I sat on this show and listened to, I don't know, thousands of people tell me that he was going to end it, that he was absolutely going to end the war in Ukraine, and that I was crazy for thinking otherwise, and it could be done. And I told him all the reasons it wouldn't be and all the problems, and he's literally faced every single one of them. Have any of those people come back to say I was right? No. Not like I need them to. They know I was. But can you imagine every time you're wrong to be like, I was sarcastic? You weren't sarcastic. Why would in what world would it be okay to be sarcastic about ending a war that's taken what 500,000 lives? Why would that?
It's funny.
What's the like he just says stuff like it's sarcastic. What's the sarcastic part?
Jokes.
The only way that you can take it as sarcasm is if he meant it like it'll be so easy, ha 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 ha, which it fucking wasn't. So I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for words with it, but it's just like he just does this stuff. Where he's like, it was sarcastic. What's the sarcastic part? The only sarcastic part is that you would think it would be easy, and then that would make it make sense. I just ended the first, but it clearly wasn't, which he just admitted to. It's one of the hardest things. I pointed this out. I pointed all the inhibitions and all the reasons that this wouldn't pan out and he wouldn't be able to get a deal done. He literally has not been able to do anything. He's floundered between both sides, trying to fight both of them at the same time to get them to give leeway. Neither one of them will. Why is this happening? Because he thinks he's smart and he does not understand this conflict. And MAGA does not understand this conflict. They don't know what's happening there. They regularly just like, it'll be so easy and blame Biden for it, right? But can't give any accountability to Trump. I'm going to finish this clip off and then we'll yap about it.
Vladimir Putin has been more difficult. Frankly, I had some problems with Zelensky. You may have read about him. And it's been more difficult than other wars. I mean, look, we just ended a war in 12 days that was simmering for 30 years, frankly.
So he just admitted that Putin was the reason this is falling apart. And he attacks Zelensky for it, which is crazy because, you know, I said this was going to be the deal, but whatever.
We ended Rwanda and the Congo. It's coming to sign the documents. We've already signed basic documents, but they're coming, I think, to the White House.
Nobody fucking asked you about that. I don't know why. You know what I mean? Nobody asked you about that. He's just like, yeah, well, the Congo.
We stopped the
do an
Rwanda
agreement?
genocide.
Literally, nobody asked you about that. Everybody is asking you why you're just,
you were
you know, a
wondering.
terrible person. And I want to point out all of that stuff that was happening in the Congo, Biden was already working on. Biden was in the Congo trying to get deals signed, trying to get that done, and this guy's going to go over and take credit for him. He has not ended a single conflict. And literally, like, there's like, they go day to day. So, like, they were like, oh, there's a ceasefire. There's a ceasefire. That's going to last like a week. He got a ceasefire in Gaza, remember? For like 3 days. Does anybody remember that? No. Mega never brings it up again. Why? Because it was a failure. A complete failure. Now, let's hear about Rwanda.
On Friday. We ended, Serbia was going to go at it. But maybe the most important of all, India and Pakistan.
Once
That Modi actually said no, he didn't play any part in ending this. Modi said that because Pakistan was like, no, you didn't have anything to do with it. And then he was like, well, India said it. India said this. And then India was like, no, we didn't say that. And then Trump doesn't really have a response. So he just says he does these things. This is the MO of the Trump administration now. He just says he does these things. His stupid believer or followers believe him. And then he goes and runs off to do something else and screw that up. He told us he was going to end the war. It's been, what, 8 months since he made that promise? Nothing. Like I said. Thoughts?
Sarcasm.
Sarcasm, it's a thing I've made up. I'm not really quite sure exactly what it is, but I think that I did it, so
Really, anything
sorry, do you have any
he
thoughts?
says and then backtracks is sarcasm, even though it's not. There's no irony
Yeah, he
in the
does do that
initial
a lot.
statement. Yeah, like
No,
with
there's
COVID,
not.
shining very powerful lights and injecting disinfectant. That was sarcastic, apparently, even though he asked the question to one of the leading scientists in the room.
Yeah, sarcasm has to have an undertone. None of this has an undertone. It just has him saying things are going to happen and them not happening.
Yeah.
And that's the entire MO of him. But he does, I just thought about that. He does do that a lot where he's just like, I would shoot him on Fifth Ave. I could kill him. It's true. I could strangle him like the Scranton Strangler. That was sarcastic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he like go into like a full blown mental breakdown of being like, there I was on the side of the road thinking about strangling her. And it's just like gets really dark, and he's like, "That was sarcastic." You know what I mean? Like admitting to crimes. Like he would go into like an interrogation room and admit to crimes and be like, "That was sarcastic. I did do that, but everything I just said was sarcastic. I didn't actually." It's yeah. So at any rate, he lied about the war in Ukraine. He just said, "Oh, that's sarcastic," and literally nobody calls him out on it. Like, could you imagine if like someone was like, "That was sarcastic," when if George Bush said something he said was sarcastic, he would have been berated by the media,
Yep.
berated. If Obama did that, if Biden did that, but like that would have been a headline. That would have been a headline 10 years ago. A full blown headline. And now we've really just watched the complete decline of America.